You're watching Euronews now. I'm Takumbo Salako with your top stories. There's growing outrage over mounting human rights atrocities in Ukraine. Kyiv says war crimes and genocide have been committed. We'll have the latest from New York as the UN Security Council will hear more later about the allegations of civilians being targeted in Bucha from the Ukrainian president. And after climate change experts warn it's now or never about taking action to cut global warming, we'll look at what steps can now be taken.
Moscow is facing a global wave of revulsion and accusations of war crimes after the Russian troop pullout from the outskirts of Kyiv revealed streets strewn with corpses of what appeared to be civilians. The grisly images have led to calls for tougher sanctions against the Kremlin, namely a ban on fuel imports from Russia. And US President Joe Biden wants Russian leader Vladimir Putin tried for war crimes. Speaking from Poland following talks with the UK's foreign minister, Ukraine's counterpart warned that the civilian killings in Bucha may not be the last.
The horrors that we've seen in Bucha are just a tip of the iceberg of all the crimes that have been committed by Russian army in the territory of Ukraine so far. And I can tell you without an exaggeration, but with great sorrow, that the situation in Mariupol is much worse.
Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, has dismissed the scenes outside Kyiv as a stage-managed anti-Russian provocation, denied an immediate UN Security Council session to present what the Kremlin calls evidence of fake videos. Moscow's ambassador to the UN held a press conference.
From the very beginning, it has been clear that this is nothing else but yet another staged provocation aimed at discrediting and dehumanizing of the Russian military and leveling political pressure on Russia. We have factual evidence that proves this point. We intend to present it to Security Council as soon as possible so that the international community is not misled by the false narrative promoted by Kyiv and its Western sponsors.
Russia has withdrawn many of its forces from the capital area. It's now pouring troops and mercenaries into Ukraine's east in a stepped-up bid to gain control of the Donbass, the largely Russian-speaking industrial region of Ukraine that includes besieged Mariupol.
The British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss is in Poland today, seeking to intensify sanctions against Russia over its war in Ukraine. Citing the civilian killings in a town outside Kyiv, Truss said, "We will not rest until Russia has paid the price for these appalling crimes." Well, last night she met the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba and today her Polish counterpart Zbigniew Rau. Announcing her visit, the British government did not set out what kind of new sanctions that she would seek. London has sought to position itself as a leader in the international response to the invasion of Ukraine. Secretary Truss said that Britain has helped to lead the way with sanctions to cripple the Putin war machine. And she said that Britain will do more to ramp up the pressure on Russia and keep pushing others to do more as well. However, Britain's critics have pointed to its delayed and limited response to the refugee crisis and delays in targeting Russian oligarchs, many of whose wealth is tied up here in London. On Wednesday, Truss will be in Brussels for talks with the G7 and NATO, but there are no reported plans to meet with the European Commission, whose very existence and role in the response to the Ukraine crisis was singularly ignored by Truss in an article that she wrote for a German newspaper just over a week ago. Ty-Gen Wright, Euronews in London.
The images which have emerged from Bucha have shocked most, including Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Accusations of war crimes are being made. Euronews asked the president's spokesman, Sergei Nikiforov, if he saw evidence to support that claim.
There were people with their hands and their legs tied, right, and with gunshots, with bullet holes in the back of their head. There were people with clear signs of torture. They were half-burned bodies, and I'm talking about civilians, not about the military. I think it allows us to say that it might have been a war crime. There are indications that there is a war crime.
What about Russian accusations that the images are fake and stage managed?
There were dozens, maybe hundreds of international journalists today in Bucha, not only from Western countries, from all over the world. I haven't heard any single claim that it might have been a staged provocation.
Against this background, how can negotiations to end the war make progress?
Every war ends with a peace deal. There is no other options. So, and we don't have other options than negotiate with Russia. Doesn't matter how difficult and hard for us to do it after we have seen these images.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is due to address the UN Security Council with claims of solid evidence of alleged atrocities by Moscow in Bucha. He will also express a chilling fear. Bucha is not the worst case on record.
There is already information that the number of victims may be even higher in Borodyanka and some other liberated cities. In many villages of the liberated districts of Kyiv, Chernihiv and the Sumy regions, the occupiers did things that the locals had not seen even during the Nazi occupation 80 years ago.
Bucha, Borodyanka, Mariupol, Stoyanka. An international team of war crimes experts are being deployed to the region to support the Ukraine Prosecutor General's War Crimes Unit. After Joe Biden stated that Vladimir Putin should be tried for war crimes, the United States also joined this investigative team.
It's now or never. That's the stark warning given to heads of state from the world's top body of climate scientists, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Its latest report shows that temperatures on Earth will shoot past a key danger point unless greenhouse gas emissions fall faster than current commitments allow.
We are on a pathway to global warming of more than double the 1.5 degree limit agreed in Paris. Some government and business leaders are saying one thing but doing another. Simply put, they are lying. And the results will be catastrophic. This is a climate emergency.
According to the scientists from the UN body, gas emissions must peak by 2025 if we are to stop the worst consequences of climate change. However, they remain hopeful that this is achievable if a massive effort is made by governments, businesses and individuals.
The big message we've got, human activities got us into this problem, and human agency can actually get us out of it again. And I think that's the hopeful message that we're trying to get over in this report. It's not all lost. We really have the chance to do something.
The climate report also states that the cost of bringing gas emissions down would represent a few % of the global GDP by mid-century. Immediate reductions are also needed across all sectors.
Time for us to take a short break on the programme. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few moments.